harness has been completed. I see on your client form you were under the impression that this is a 2001. This is definitely not a 2001. This is more like a 2007. And the reason why I'm saying that is because if you look at your compressor connectors on here, you'll see that you've got two pins. This is generally used on a system that has a variable stroke compressor. So in other words, it's got, the pistons are capable of adjusting their stroke. Okay, so the actual compressor turns all the time. You don't have a clutch like this one. I will explain to you how to go about that. You're not just going to be able to, well, you can, but you need to put a resistor in here, okay, on this line as it goes into the compressor. I'm not sure if it's this one or that one. I believe it's this one. But yeah, we'll go through that. We'll go through that to get that up and running for you. That's not a problem. Anyway, the whole harness has been gone through. We basically rewrapped, respragged. We've added in a temperature probe here. So on all three Zs, there's a little stopper plug over there. You can screw that out and get a Toyota temperature sender and screw it in there, okay, and then plug that in. This wire basically goes to your, it's got nothing to do with the management. I just don't want loose wires hanging off your motor if we can avoid that. It basically goes through to your client plug, okay. So very little needed to be replaced on this harness. It was in very, very good condition, okay. Running down here, you've got your right hand O2 sensor. Okay, this is for your alternator. I have not plugged it in here because this is actually running on I've actually test running your motor on a 5-speed motor. So the alternator on the 5-speed is an oval connector and yours is a square. So we're going to have to make those little attachments here and there because there are also on the starter motor. There's also those problems or changes. Okay, 6-pin connector for your throttle body. Okay. All of your injector connectors, all of them are fine. You've got absolutely no cracking on any of the wires. All the seals in there were great. So there was a bit of a saving. So yeah, with the connectors that I can't remember offhand, your harness has actually been done for probably, I don't know, nearly a week. Just haven't had time to get it onto the start stand. But yeah, this cable over here, don't forget about this. This is for your variable intake length. Okay, so this normally goes behind here and under the engine bracket. So, or it actually goes behind the hook. So you'll see it plugs in there. Don't forget to plug that in. It makes a huge difference on the torque of the motor. Okay, you've got an earth strap on the right hand side. You've got another one on the left hand side. Make sure that those are properly connected. This I will put a bridge connector in because obviously you've got a bigger connector there. Newer system, so you've got 2-wire knock sensors, and the older one only had a 1-wire. Okay, running down here, this is where your left-hand O2 sensor plugs in. Okay, again, make sure that's plugged in. Your management requires them for your air fuel ratios. Okay, down here, much the same thing. This is just a filter. You've actually got one on either side. Stops noise coming through your radio in the car. This is for EVAP. It has been deleted in the computer, but we leave the connector on. It is still functional, so if you do want to use it, great. Plug it in. It's not going to make any difference to the performance of the motor. It's not a bad thing. Okay. Running down here, front cam sensor. Again, goes to your aircon. Your aircon compressor, these two, and then runs down here and goes into your crank sensor, and your oil goes over there and plugs into your oil. Okay. This cable, it's always advisable to run it through this cavity behind the aircon compressor. It'll go in there, it'll come out here, and it'll basically be out of the way of your serpentine belt. Okay. Coming down here, it goes to your fuse box. So within your fuse box, you've basically got your start relay, you've got your fuel control relays, you've got your EFI and your main relay, engine light, that's an earth terminal, and then all the relevant fuses for the system. Everything is marked on the bottom of the fuse box lid for your reference. Okay, coming down to the ECU. This red cable over here is going to the battery positive. This is the main power supply for your system. This is just a bridge connector, just ignore that. You've got all of your ECU connectors over there. Okay, and then you've got a 4-pin, a 6-pin, and a 10-pin. The 4-pin and the 6-pin, okay, is for your diagnostics and for your throttle control. Well, it's actually a 6-pin and a 6-pin on this one. So it's for your throttle pedal and for your diagnostics connector. These two, we supply you this harness, okay, and on the other side it will go to your accelerator plug, and it'll go to your diagnostics connector that you can build into your dashboard. This is the connector that you will be using for your startup of the engine. So your green is the ignition, you've got your start, which is brown and yellow, you've got your fuel, which is the red, you've got your white and blue, which is going to be your rev counter, you've got a white and yellow, which is going to be your temperature, engine temperature, you've got a yellow with a black, which is yellow with a black is going to be your oil, okay, and so on and so forth. This will all be marked in your so you've got engine light, you've got everything in there. It'll all be marked in your client plug or in your client plug pinouts, okay. And then this 4-pin connector over here are the 4 pins or the 4 wires going to your 2 connectors over here. That's why I say what we'll do is we will, as soon as you get it back, just plug it in, tell me which one plugs into the front of the compressor, or give me a photograph of the compressor, then I'll be able to tell you which one of these you're going to put a resistor on. So, I mean, just as an example, let's just say that it is going to be these 2. Okay, you're going to take the one, whichever one's the positive trigger, and you're going to put a resistor on that. Okay, and that goes to 12 volt, and then the other one you'll touch ground. Okay, and that then will get your, and then the other 2 is basically a lockup sensor or a speed sensor. Those 2 you don't actually have to worry about, but we've brought all 4 of them here so that you do not have, that you've got everything accessible. Okay. ECU wise, this is where the downfall comes in the 6-speed. They are 6-speed ECUs are a lot more expensive than the 5-speed ECUs. 5-speed ECUs you can basically pick up at about $100. 6-speed ECUs are a lot more expensive than that. They are very, very good computers, but so they have been, the actual mechanics or physical, build of the computer is obviously of a higher quality than the 5-speed, but not to say that it was bad. There was nothing wrong with the 5-speed, but the 6-speed I do think has definitely got upgrades. Same thing as the accelerator, the throttle body. It's also upgraded from the 5-speed, and then obviously the knock sensors were upgraded from the 5-speed, and that's basically the only difference on the 5 versus the 6-speed. So yeah, you've got this cable coming out here. I don't think I mentioned this one. So you got this one goes down to obviously to your airflow meter. Okay. I'm not sure what your plan is with the airflow, with your housings and whatever. We do make these fittings. So this is obviously one that bolts onto, or if you're going to fabricate an air box, okay. And then obviously your flow meter fits straight into that. We also make one that that basically goes to a cone filter, so you've got a round attachment on either side of it. Okay, and then these are obviously made with the exact dimensions as the original sizes from Lexus. So yeah, let me quickly put in these. I just need to put a bridge connector in here, and then we will give her a test run and make sure that everything is working properly, as well as checking for DTCs. Okay, so I've put on the air pipe, put in the airflow meter. I've put a bridge connector in here so that we can crank her. I have not connected up the knock sensors because this is on the 6-speed system is a 4-wire system, and on the 5-speed is a single wire. So that I can't connect, and it will pull up DTCs for those 2. It's not going to affect the test run start, and those DTCs will obviously disappear once you have got it plugged into your sub harness. Okay. Your ventilation, just make sure that this tube is connected to, there's a tube coming out here on the, there it is over there, coming out of the right hand valve cover. Just make sure that that is connected there. If you're not using this intake pipe, just make sure whatever pipe that you're using, that you've got a stub coming out or a tube coming out between the throttle body and the airflow meter. Okay, so that tube coming out needs to be connected to the right hand valve cover, and then you've got this PCV valve over here which needs to be connected to that tube over there. Okay, let's give her a crank. I can't run it for very long because I don't have a cooling system on this motor, but we'll give her a crank, we'll give her a run, and then we will quickly double check on DTCs for you. So she may take a little time to build up fuel. So yes, these two are basically going to be let's just see knock sensor 1, and then the other one's going to be knock sensor 2. So that there's great. Everything there's done. She runs good. She's like I said, she's got that performance tune on there. So she is yeah, she's pretty aggressive. But you let me know. You let me know if you've got any trouble at all. Just give me a shout and we'll sort you out. But you should have no problems.